Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition with me, One Exploits, and you whoever you may be. We're here about to fight Knight Artorias. Unfortunately I did lose a few attempts of this. So as you can see, I'm wearing light armor mixed with heavy armor, so I have the paladin boots and helmet mixed with the black leather, which was reinforced. So I've had about 10 attempts at this boss before this, but it was in heavy armor, so I've switched to this armor because I don't have Havel's ring, so I need to be able to not fat roll in this fight, especially because he moves so fast. You need to be able to move quickly out of the way and not fat roll, because you do need to actually roll in this fight to avoid his big strikes. He has a straight lunge attack with his Greatsword. He somersaults into the air and slams his sword down vertically, which he can repeat up to 3 times and can stun lock you. That is the craziest attack, especially when he's empowered, because he can empower himself and then it takes like 3/4 of your health, and that happens every 5th of his health. So every 5th of his health he loses, he casts an explosion spell which also empowers him, increasing the damage he does via his attacks. I didn't know that at the time because I was playing this blind. That's his post commentary for this section at least. So at the time I didn't realise I had to interrupt those explosions, or else I would have for sure. I think that's the main reason I failed so much, because if I'd known the tactics to this fight, then I would have interrupted him and he would have been doing much less damage, because he was taking like 3/4 of my health, as I said, once he empowered himself, because it only took me like 3 slashes of my weapon to get him down 1/5 of his health. So it was like he would be chain casting that, and the effect can be stacked multiple times if he is allowed to power up repeatedly. So I think that's where I went wrong. I allowed him to power up repeatedly without interrupting him, and that's why I was taking such high damage and dying so fast and losing repeatedly. So at the time I didn't know this, because as I said, I was playing it blind. As for his other attacks, I'll just go over them quickly. He has 2 circular slashes like Sif. However, it's faster and has a shorter radius. He is much faster than any other boss I've come across, so it's actually really hard to avoid his attacks, especially without Havel's ring. He has a jump slash like Sif. This is very powerful and happens almost immediately, which seems to be exclusively used when you stand behind him, most likely after dodging his big jump attack. I didn't read up on this boss at all before actually engaging him. This is after the fight I'm reading this off. He also throws black sludge in an arc in front of him, and this will deplete your health, but will disappear after a very short time. He can roll to dodge your attacks, and with every 5th of his health depleted, he will roll away and surround himself with a dark aura. As he prepares to cast an explosion, standing in this aura does not cause damage, but the explosion can deal a lot of damage. His casting can be interrupted with enough damage. After the explosion, his attacks will become stronger and deplete significantly more stamina for about a minute. This effect can be stacked multiple times if he's allowed to power up repeatedly. So I think that's where I was going wrong, because I was letting him cast those things in succession, because I would drop his health so fast because of my powerful weapon. It would take a lot of his health. It would only take like 2 hits to take a 5th of his health, probably, or 3. So that was probably where I was going wrong. I was allowing him to cast those explosions, and that made his attacks much stronger, which would take one of those somersault attacks would have taken 3/4 of my health, as well as the lunge attacks. When he's powered up like that, it would have taken 3/4 of my health, as you will see. So it was a very tough fight, but if you know the tactics, it becomes significantly easier. Like if you know to interrupt those explosions, which I didn't at the time. As I say, this part of this commentary is post, so I'm going back and reading up on the wiki since I've done this. I have done this fight blind. Alright, here we go, take 4 on this fight. For this session anyway. I had like 10 other attempts which I'd lost the footage of, unfortunately, so I don't have the cinematic which was present when you first enter the arena against Knight Artorias, so that is missing. And this is still post-commentary, so I'll just be commenting on the footage of the fight. The damage doesn't seem to be consistent in this fight, but he just drew me through, that's me. Get shit on, 194 deaths. Time to die again. Knight Artorias. As I said, it is a friggin' hard boss. Probably the hardest in the game. So far, at least. There's only a couple more bosses to do, I'm sure. You don't want to get caught with that stabby attack. That's probably, well, it's one of the worst. They're all bad attacks. They can hit harder for some reason sometimes, and sometimes they don't hit as hard. But I got wiped out again. It seems he crits sometimes. So that's 195 deaths. He seems to crit sometimes and then other times not. Here we go again. Oh wow, managed to avoid that one. He has a slime trail too, like a big slug. He is a crafty bugger, nimble like a fox, hits like a truck, hard to avoid and extremely fast. So I don't have Havel's ring, so it's a distinct disadvantage for me, though I did change out to lighter armor, so I'm not fat rolling throughout this fight. Pummeled into the ground repeatedly. He's fun. I think for dexterity classes this would be a much easier fight because I could move around a lot faster with light gear on. Even a sorcerer might have a better time with this. But then they'd get hit with the... He doesn't really have ranged attacks apart from the sludge and the explosion, so probably being ranged would be better for this fight. Melee is pretty hard, because you have to get up in his grill, and by doing so you're more likely to get hit. Boom! Over and over and over again. And he can't stun lock you, as I said before, especially with those big somersault hits. He can stun lock you 3 times, and that is nasty. So we're getting him down. He's about halfway. Shouldn't have let him cast that. Got my points back. Actually, I didn't get any points, so I avoided that. If I'd been better at rolling out of the way, what you want to do is stay close and then roll as soon as you see him attacking. That way you can avoid. There are some bullshit times where you do roll and he doesn't hit you, and then some lucky times where you do roll and he misses you. Like there, I rolled right into his attack. This is the attack I'm talking about. That lunge took 3/4 of my health in one blow. I do not get the damage in this fight. I mean, I know his damage stacks up repeatedly if he's allowed to cast his explosion and power up after reading up on this fight, but even then his other attacks weren't hitting that hard, and the lunge sometimes doesn't even hit that hard once he's powered up, so it just seems to be totally random. So here we switch to our heavy armor because I'm sick of taking so much damage and dying so fast. But even with the leather armor, I was taking smaller hits too when he was attacking me more often than not. It was only like a little bit of my health, and then suddenly 3/4 of your health just drops in one go. That's what can catch you out in this fight. Unpredictable damage. So yes, we finally get him down. That was such a relief for me at that point. So I'm doing spins. We get the soul of Artorias. That was great. So glad that fight's over. Victory at last. That was most definitely the hardest fight I've come across in this game. And at the time it was level 92. So let's read up what the soul is. Soul of Artorias. Soul of Lord Gwyn's knight Artorias, who was consumed by the abyss. The legend that Artorias repelled the abyss only told half of the story. It seemed that he was defeated and his honour preserved by some unsung hero who is the true victor over the abyss. Would that be me? I guess so. that's pretty cool. Really nice arena here. You can look up and take a look around. It's like the Colosseum in Rome. So that's that done and dusted. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and as always, have a nice day.